On October the 13th, a series of terror attacks in the heart of Paris left at least 153 people dead and paralyzed the French capital with fear. 200 people were wounded and from 8 to 10 extremists were dead following the attack. The attacks were clearly coordinated. They took place in multiple locations and involved different methods. 2 suicide bombers detonated their explosives at locations near the Stade de France, where a soccer match between France and Germany was taking place. French President François Hollande was at the stadium at the time of the attack. Gunmen opened fire on a Cambodian restaurant in a drive-by shooting. Shots were also fired at the Bataclan concert hall, where terrorists held up to 100 hostages. Then, gunmen opened fire on Rue de Charonne. About an hour after the initial attacks by other terrorist cells took place at the Louvre and Les Halles. French President François Hollande declared a national state of emergency and shut its borders. Special police units, including RAID, a police intervention unit, and French military have been rapidly mobilized and deployed in the greater Paris area. When the Paris police stormed the Bataclan concert hall, 3 of the attackers were killed after letting off their suicide belts, while the 4th was shot and killed by police. According to media reports, over 100 people died and at least a dozen suffered injuries as a result of the siege. On Saturday, Paris closed down its public spaces in response to terror attacks. Though shocking, the attacks are not completely surprising. Multiple individuals from France and other European countries have joined terrorist groups to Syria and Iraq. The attacks have demonstrated that there is a constant risk of terrorist attacks within Europe. This Friday's carnage was likely well coordinated and planned, thus the attackers could receive instruction or assistance from groups such as ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Furthermore, the recent migration crisis in Europe highlights the risk that jihadist groups could have placed some of their members among the large refugee flow to conduct attacks in Europe. From a social perspective, the attacks could head to a raise of the domestic tensions between French nationals and migrants. Just hours after the Friday attacks, a huge fire broke out at the Jungle refugee camp near the French port of Calais. 100 migrants reportedly died. The origin of the fire is unknown yet.